Good morning and happy Monday. Today we are going to take a break from I Am Malala to do a fun and creative activity where you are going to decide what rules you would put in place if you were in charge of the world. Before we get started, I want you to ask yourself this question. Have you ever been the boss of something? Take a minute and think about it. You may have been the boss or the captain of a sports team. You may be the boss of a section leader in a choir or band. And maybe you were the boss when you were babysitting a younger sibling or a family friend. Now I want you to think about this question. What are the benefits, the good things, the responsibilities, and the setbacks of being in charge? So think about what are the positives and the negatives about being the boss or about being in charge. You may think, oh, it's nice because people have to do what I tell them to do. You may think, oh no, if things don't turn out right, I'll be the one that gets blamed. And you probably have less time for yourself because you're trying to help other people succeed. Now, how would the world change if children were in charge? So think about it. If children or kids your age were in charge of the world, how would it change? More specifically, what would you change if you were able to create rules for the world? What would you keep the same? And what would you like to see improved or made better? Just some things to think about. Today, what we are going to do is we are going to write a poem about if you were in charge of the world. Now, this is an example of Judith Viorst's poem that she wrote that is entitled, If I Were in Charge of the World. Before I read this poem to you, let's just take a look at the structure of the poem. You'll notice that there are 4 stanzas in this poem. A stanza is kind of like a paragraph. So this is the first stanza, you'll see a space. The second stanza, a space. The third stanza, a space. And then the fourth stanza. So you'll see in here, there are 4 stanzas, and each stanza has about 4, 5, or 6 lines. So you'll see the lines, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 lines in the first stanza. Then you go to the second stanza. There are also 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. The third stanza has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. And the fourth stanza, the last stanza, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. Okay? Today you are going to create a poem if you were in charge of the world using only 3 stanzas, 1, 2, 3, and your poems only have to have 4 lines in each. If you'd like to create more, that's fine, but just a minimum of 4 lines in each stanza is perfectly fine for today. All right, now listen while I read Judith Viorst's poem. The title is at the top, If I Were in Charge of the World. Okay, here she goes. If I were in charge of the world, I'd cancel oatmeal, Monday mornings, allergy shots, and also Sarah Steinberg. If I were in charge of the world, there'd be brighter night's lights, healthier hamsters, and basketball baskets 48 inches lower. If I were in charge of the world, you wouldn't have lonely, you wouldn't have clean, you wouldn't have bedtimes, or don't punch your sister. You wouldn't even have sisters. If I were in charge of the world, a chocolate sundae with whipped cream and nuts would be a vegetable, all 007 movies would be G, and a person who sometimes forgot to brush and sometimes forgot to flush would still be allowed to be in charge of the world. So you can see here, Judith really talked about things that affect her life. We can make an inference that she probably does not like oatmeal. That's why she says, I'd cancel oatmeal. She probably is not a fan of Monday mornings, allergy shots, or Sarah Steinberg. We can see that she probably does want to see brighter night lights, healthier hamsters. Maybe she had an experience where she knew a hamster, or she had a pet hamster that got sick. And then she mentions basketball baskets being 48 inches lower. Maybe they're too tall for her. Maybe she's a little bit shorter and she'd like to lower them. So you can see in her poem, she really talks about things that she would like to change or get rid of or make better. So I want you to think about what lines in the poem do you like or dislike? What are some things that you can write about that you'd like to change, or that you'd like to keep the same or just make better or improve? Now it is going to be your turn to improve the world by composing some ideas on how to make it a better place. You are going to create a poem, like I said before. You're going to include at least 3 stanzas and have 4 lines in each stanza. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, that is perfectly fine. Please check for proper spelling, grammar, and mechanics. Most of all, have fun and be creative, and I can't wait to read what you come up with. On Google Classroom, for the assignment for today, I have already created the document entitled If I Were in Charge of the World. You are going to write your poem directly on that document and turn it into me when you are done. Have fun and have a great day. I can't wait to read what you come up with. See you later.